welcome back to the show, gents. Congratulations on the win. But Stro, a very good comeback, a dicey first half, but a very good comeback from your boys.
Yeah, very good comeback. Look, let's be honest. Klopp made big mistakes in that first half, massive mistakes. McAllister never should have started the game. If you're not going to start Núñez and Diaz, because obviously the South Americans have travelled far, you cannot start a man that played at over 12,000 feet above sea level, had to travel 6,000 miles to get back just over 48 hours ago. I thought the structure of the team didn't look balanced. We looked poor, and to be fair to him, it's not really his fault, but McAllister just looked dead on his feet. Second half, though, is prime Klopp. The changes, the ruthlessness. I mean, even when we got the goal, I'm thinking, should you really be taking Jota off and Gakpo at the same time, considering they all had a hand in the goal? Did it anyway, and what a second half performance. One thing I will say is going into that Kwanzaa, there's times even at 1-1, there's times at 1-0, he kept us in that, in terms of there's balls that are being flicked over and he's getting a flick on to stop it going through. What an impressive performance from him. What a very impressive performance. But yeah, second half, incredible. And like you said, Terry, write us off. Please write us off. Let us just go under the radar.
Yeah, I mean, I would want that. If I was a Liverpool fan, that's what I would be asking for. Sam, in terms of that second half, I understand why the manager had to leave some of the South American players out because of the distance that they have travelled. But it demonstrated how important it is in football to have people that are willing to run off shoulders, spread play, and create openings and gaps.
Again, I agree with what Straw said. I think it was a mistake to start McAllister. He just looked tired. And to be honest, fair because he's travelled all that way. And in South America, the high altitude where he was playing, forgot the country's name, it just went out of my head. But that's it, Bolivia. Like it's gonna take an effect on him. But listen, I was in halftime spaces and shout out Hussam, but there was one guy that came on and my ears was just bleeding after this. People were saying Klopp out, and I was just like, oh my word, you lot have jumped the gun again. Let me. I'm gonna say this right with Stro and Rack is here. This is the first time after half time where I've sat down and I was very calm and I said, we're still going to win the game. This is the old Liverpool where I was like, when we were 1-0 down, it's all right. We can score. We can score. And you can see our attacking depth in that team. It is dangerous. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you. We have rolled our luck in the first half. We should have been 2-3-0 down if certain things went Wolves' way and they had their shooting boots on. But my word, our attacking depth is probably the best in the league. And it does get us out of games. One thing I do worry about with Liverpool is that the way we start games a lot of the time is very lackluster. And we need to get that out quick. We did that against Bournemouth, even though we won. We did that against Newcastle. The only time we had that a near-perfect game was against Aston Villa, where everything was all good and everything was clicking. But against teams that press us and want to put the impetus on us in the first 30 minutes, we struggle, and we need to get that out of our game.
Yeah, I hear you on that, Racket. Are you in agreement with what Sam's saying there?
Yeah, pretty much. Look, it was the archetypal game of two halves, wasn't it? We did start slow. There's been a few times this season where we haven't really gone at it from the get-go. Look, in the past I've been very positive about Liverpool, and I still think that we're way off our peak. But that's in a way that's a good thing, because when the commentator said it in the second half, we're only going to get better. What level we can achieve, I don't know. But it's going to be exciting to find out. It's going to be a hell of a ride, and I'm hopeful. We did ride our luck in the first half, but in the second half, when the chips were down, we kind of came out, and we had some big players out. And look, just shout out to Mo Salah, man. Like, when he's not scoring, people criticize him so much, saying all he does is score goals, but he gives us so much more. He's a threat even when he's not scoring goals, and he's getting assists. Like, yeah, great play and great team performance.
Yeah, so it certainly was in that second half, as you say, a very, very good team performance as well. In terms of the young lads, boys, I know it got briefly mentioned. Is it Quasi? Am I pronouncing that right?
Quensa.
What?
Quensa.
Sorry. You know, Quasi. Quasi's a kid I went to school with. We used to call him Quasi. Sorry. Like, he's an old friend from school. The name just popped into my head. He really impressed me, considering, especially when you go back to that first half and the experience of Gomez, Matip. He was, for me, your best centre back. He worked so hard. He had to go off with what looked like cramp, but very impressive. Was it his debut? I remember hearing the commentators say today.
Yeah, debut.
Full debut, yeah. And he played against Newcastle. He came in against Newcastle when Van Dijk went off later on in the second half. But yeah, he was great.
I think with him, one thing I did see was that his match fitness, he can't. It's his first time. It's his debut, obviously, but he just needs to get up his fitness, because you can see that he was running a lot and he was making a lot of last-ditch tackles, but you can see he was just dead on his feet after, like, when did he come off, like the 75th minute or something like that?
I think that comes down to like adrenaline and everything. Though, when you think about it, for a kid that age, he's been at the club since the age of 5, worked his way through the academy. He's finding out, obviously, he's getting his first league start in an away game. Let's be honest, Molineux, when the atmosphere is up, it's a tough game and it's a tough place to go. His adrenaline's all over the place and he's just trying to seize the moment as much as he can. You can tell what it meant to him and you can see it when he was coming off. He was drained, but what a performance from the kid. What a performance. And then I was one of the ones included during the summer, wanted a centre-back in. You understand now why Klopp's put big faith into him, because that's a great performance for a debut. That very impressive.
Even with that, I still think that we did miss out with a centre back. But one thing about it is that when we do miss out, it's like guys will rise. A few young talent will rise, like with Curtis Jones coming into the team from last year, Kwanzaa this year, even Ben Doak. I believe he will rise, especially in the Europa League games when we leave most of our stars out, because it's no game is easy, but we're allowed to leave some of our stars out for the Europa League games. I just feel like with this team, we need to start clicking again, because we have it's such a bad habit. After the international break, we play well, and then the international break hits, and then after we come back, we start so slow, and it gets annoying. Like this whole 12:30 thing, it is a problem, but you play through it. You just play through it.
Well, as a rival looking in, you can tell it's a problem. And I know that James Pearce and Jurgen Klopp don't get on at the moment. But listen, I know he's your manager and you guys all love him. But once upon a time, Liverpool fans loved James Pearce. They thought everything he said was the gospel truth. But you can tell it's something that is a worry for you guys. Because up until Klopp sort of went up James Pearce over it, Liverpool fans were worried about it. Since Klopp said that, they're all like, no, actually, I don't think we do have a problem. And I'm like, I get you follow what your manager says. I understand that. We're all guilty of it. But it will, I guarantee in that dressing room now, whether it's
Terry,
there'll be a relief. There'll be a relief.
The same thing with Ten Hag.
Sorry?
If only your players did the same thing. If only your players did the same with Ten Hag, eh?
Yeah. Well, the players seemingly look all right. It's the fans who that don't want to listen to him. We've got a group of fans at Man United who, because all managers ever in the history of managers tell small little porcupines in press conferences rather than revealing all their plans, they actually there are Man United fans that refer to Ten Hag as a pathological liar because he says things like, oh, I really rate this player when he's on the bench. It's like, honestly, it's the warped nature. So yeah, I do wish we were a little bit more like Liverpool fans, where it's like, I don't want to go full communist, just like, Tropic Thunder, you never want to go full, I'm not going to say the word, but you never want to go full communist, but just a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know,
Can I give a shout out?
I want a little bit of social care when it comes to our manager. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to Szoboszlai, because for me, if I'm going to be objective, he didn't have a great first half. You lost the ball 12 times. Apparently, that was the stat. Second half, I'm like, we got this player for 60 million. He was playing as the deepest midfielder at times. The way it was getting the ball deep. And this guy he's supposed to be one of our most attacking midfielders. Yet he was playing as a CDM at times. And I know it's Curtis Jones and him were interchanging as well. But my word, this guy has been a signing, man. A signing.
Yeah, he looks very good He's very impressive. I felt that in the again, what he wasn't helped with in the first half was the fact that for one reason or another, McAllister was having an absolute mare, and because the ball kept on being turned over, it's difficult for him. He then, as you say, had to play deeper in the second half. I still would love to wonder. The thing with Klopp is, I'm looking at Endo and I'm thinking, well, you bought him, you praised him, he's a DM, you're not playing him, but Klopp's renowned for this. If a player's not ready for the Premier League, you don't start him. So it's one of those hard things because you've got such a body of work of Klopp. It's hard to turn around and say, well, how dare he not start the DM? I just think they've got to put somebody other than McAllister in there. I don't think he's particularly good at holding the ball in that. I do think Curtis Jones would do a better job in that role than him. I think he's a better footballer than Curtis Jones, but not that role. You know, I don't know. It's an interesting one for me. Did we have a super chat that came in here? It says Diaz on the left, free Salah, Klopp brain. It freed Salah, Klopp brain. What about Darwin though? Because again, I thought Darwin was brilliant when he came on again. I just thought hold up play was good. Menace out of this world again. He looks like a player that's got to be starting more games throughout this season, Stro.
Yeah, definitely. He came on with a bit between his teeth, and obviously he left Uruguay. He had a bit of I think it was a calf problem, so that was probably one of the main reasons why he didn't start. But look, let's be honest. And obviously, I remember being on the show years ago when I was praising Bielsa. If there's two managers to get the best out of Darwin Núñez, it's going to be Marcelo Bielsa and it's going to be Jurgen Klopp. The strength he showed on the halfway line to just hold Dawson off in, the runs he was making. Look, I played football long enough. I've coached football. You cannot teach people getting chances. You can't. It's just natural. They just find themselves in a position and they get a chance. The runs that they make, you can teach them to make runs, but to make the right runs at the right time is a natural thing. He has that in abundance. The Newcastle game shown that this season, it shows that he can be a bit more clinical. I thought he was unlucky with the chance he had. It's a great save by Jose Sarr, but he looks lively. And he looks at night and day difference compared to the player he was last season. Because what happened on the halfway line with Dawson last season, he gets bullied off the ball, he nicks it, and Wolves run the attack. Whereas this season, it looks like he's got a bit between his teeth. And like we said, I genuinely believe that our actual depth in attack is probably the best in the league in terms of people you can bring on off the bench. And yeah, I genuinely believe that this season will be a good season for us.
You know, quickly, also like Darwin Núñez, when he came on, he was brilliant. But one thing I've noticed that today we did mistrain. I can't lie. Today we did mistrain. There was a couple runs that they I was looking, I was like, make the ball, and nobody was making the ball. But last season, our midfield was absolute trash. Our defense was shaky, but we missed Diaz a lot. And the reason why is because Jota is a good player. I always rate him. I say he's probably our best clinical finisher in the team. But on the left, Diaz holds the ball well to a point where he will attack defenders on that side. And you can see as soon as he came on, he nearly scored. He should have done better. I won't even lie to you. But Diaz, he brings such a difference in the attack where you can rely on him to hold onto the ball on the left and create something there. A little bit better than Jota. And we missed that last season with him because he was out injured for most of the season, or a significant part of the season. Like Diaz, he's a brilliant player, brilliant player.
Yeah, I think there's someone in him. Like as a Man United fan, you know, you be in Liverpool, you do the noodle stuff and you laugh when he misses chances. But I said it on so many match reactions last year. There's a player in there, and he needs to be. And the warped example I would give, the analogy, Mr. Miyagi analogy, where he speaks about, you know, there's a bonsai inside every tree. And the same as you, Daniel-san. He goes, we must get your best karate still inside. Now time come out, is what he said. And I think that's the same with Darwin Núñez. I think he's like a bonsai tree. He hasn't let it out yet. He's in a bonsai tree, has not come out of him yet. When it does, though, the Premier League better watch out. And I do want to say as well, I am thankful to Liverpool winning today because you beat one of the mid-table challengers in Wolves. So I'm very happy that you helped Man United today in terms of doing that. That's helped us greatly. There's one additional team that can't go ahead of us.
Terry, one more thing.
Terry.
Oh, sorry.
Go on, bro.
No, I was going to say one more thing. Klopp. There was a lot of criticism with Klopp last year about his in-game tactics. So far this year, his in-game tactics has been absolutely brilliant. Let's give credit where credit is due. Yes, we didn't start off the game well, but he's trusting his players now. Yeah, and you can see that when Klopp looks around, we've got a good team. Even there was a quote on it saying, Klopp saying that he's looking around and smiling. He's not doing this thing where he's waiting 70 minutes until there's a significant change. He's doing it straight away. Okay, I see where the problem is. Let me change it. I've got my players in attack that can change a game. Let me do that. I've got my players in midfield that can also change a game. I know we don't have a DM, but we've got a plethora of good number 8s now. And number 8s that are not injured all the time. That's an improvement. So one thing about Klopp, I have to give him credit for this season, his in-game tactics.
Well, that's the one thing I'd say about Klopp, which, again, it pains me to say it, but I will. He sometimes it takes him a little bit of time, but he learns from his mistakes. I shouldn't really be playing my centre-backs, my centre midfielders as centre-back. Maybe I should stop this Trent bombing down the ring and leaving him exposed defensively and start making him invert and see if that helps. And it does. And I think certain decision-making time, it isn't even the decisions he was making last year. It was sometimes the timing. There would have been no point making the Diaz and the Nunez changes in the 80th minute today. You needed to make them early, be ruthless, take people off. This whole, he did a very, very good job today indeed.